Howdy y'all. Hey, I want to tell you a little story happened to me early one morning, October, just at the break of dawn. I was sitting up in a tree doing a little bow hunting. There wasn't much going on, you know, crow here and there's calling, and squirrels maybe running around. I was looking for deer, and there wasn't nothing really happening. Didn't seem to be no deer moving, so I just kind of nodding off a little bit, you know, just listening and watching. And suddenly, right beneath my tree, a big old buck is just standing there. And I've never really had buck fever like this before. I mean, I've seen deer with nice rack and get excited. I think everybody probably has, but I mean, a sudden wash of adrenaline poured over me when I saw this deer, because it had really got the jump on me and just got up really close. And I mean to tell you, I was so awash, my heart just started racing, man. I think I just broke out in a sweat. And when he kind of turned his head and moved off just a little bit, I started trying to get my bow up there, and I got it up, and I started trying to pull it back, and suddenly I realized, man, my muscles were just had turned to mush or something, and I couldn't even pull my bow back. And I waited a little bit, tried it again, and finally this deer ended up just slowly walking off. And I couldn't believe that I couldn't pull my bow back, and it was just something that had happened to my muscles. They were just supercharged, and then after that adrenaline had left, it just washed me, and I was just like, I don't know, just like a noodle or something. But anyway, the reason I tell that story is I've often heard that if people that get into skirmishes or gunfights and concealed carry situations, that the fine motor dexterity just kind of leaves them, and they can't manipulate small things like safeties or whatever. That's why they sometimes say, you know, if you got a pump shotgun, you can, you know, rack the slide maybe, but you can't, you know, get with the safety or something and just click it off. Now, I've always, all of my life, and I was born back in the late 50s, and grew up with guns, had my first one at 8 years old. I've had safeties that are pretty much like this, and I'll just show you. On this shotgun, I think most of you have probably seen a safety pretty much like this. You know, when you're ready to shoot, you just push that button and you're ready to go. Well, then I ended up with a Beretta, and I had this, and really enjoyed this, shooting this gun. It's got a nice long barrel, and I could really hit with it. But it also has a safety on it, pretty much like that. You just give it a flip, and it's ambidextrous on both sides there. So, but I was thinking, you know, if that adrenaline was to hit me, and if I got into a situation where somebody drew down on me, or maybe was shooting at me, or had a knife coming at me or something, I don't know that I would be able to have the presence of mind to manipulate that. So I decided I was not going to be carrying this anyway, and I needed a new gun, so I ended up going with what I think a lot of people have, a Springfield XD9. And this has got a very unique type of safety, and I'm going to go ahead and safety check this here. Oh, it won't go back if you don't have this little safety engaged on the back. There's no magazine in here, so that is now considered to be empty. You can see that it's charged right up here, and also you can see that there's on the very top right here there's a loaded chamber indicator, and that is flat right now. But there is otherwise the only other safety that this has is this little split trigger right here, and if you depress this, then the gun will fire if you are also engaging this little backstrap safety. And that was kind of something that I was looking for, that I wouldn't really have to do anything, just, you know, grab the gun and be able to pull the trigger and it would go off. Now Glock also has something similar to this, but they don't have this little backstrap safety right here. All they have, I believe, is just this trigger that's got a little split trigger, and if you don't depress that, then the Glock will not fire. So anyway, being used to these other safeties, I decided, well, you know, I want something that's pretty dang safe, because, you know, I don't know if I want to be putting a loaded rattlesnake in my holster all the time. And so I ended up going with the Springfield with this little safety back here on the back strap. Now, I like shooting it. It shoots really straight. It's a really good gun, and it holds a lot of ammo, probably even more than a Glock. I think this little bitty magazine here that fits in there is holding 13, and then it's got a little bit more of an extended one. It's kind of gives you that full-size service pistol type feel. This one's will hold 16 plus one in the pipe, so you could either have 14 or 17 on board with you. That's a lot of ammo. From what I've seen, people that get in gunfights on YouTube, convenience stores and stuff, there can sometimes be a whole lot of shooting and nobody's really hitting anything. So I think a lot of ammo might be a good thing, especially if you was to get into a home invasion situation. So anyway, I kind of went with this Springfield, and I'm not terribly regretting it, but because it's such a really quality, good, solid gun. But I've had some issues at the range. On a couple of occasions, I pulled this out of my holster and aimed it and fired, or tried to fire. I pulled the trigger and it didn't go off. And I think what's happening is, because I've always just done target shooting with this Beretta here, I've just had a real gentle grip on it. You know, if you start squeezing on a gun, it seems like to me, or it is for me, the tighter I squeeze it and hold it, the more transfer there is of like hydraulic tension or something to it. So I've always just held the gun fairly gently and softly and been able to hit really well with it. So anyway, I've kind of got an issue with this thing, the Springfield XD9 now. I'm going to have to just practice with it and see if I can get any better or whatever. But man, I don't like that. Whenever I pull the trigger on a gun, man, I want it to go boom, you know what I mean? So anyway, I just thought I'd share that with you and see if anybody else has had that issue. But otherwise, I really like this Springfield XD9. It's really small and compact, very easy to carry, and man, I hate to give it up, but I'm gonna try it some more and just see if I can't break myself and just try to get a really good bite on this gun. But in the heat of the moment, sometimes when you have your mind on other things, I'm just a little bit worried that I might not be able to get that backstrap safety engaged.